How is the money creating employment in the country?
Exactly.
Is it changing lives?
You know,
These are the questions now we are asking, and that's why some of us, we want to bring the experience that we have, what we have seen out there, to try and transform our country. Talk about roads, you are there. The kind of infrastructure. You're paying taxes and you feel, I'm enjoying the services. The road is good. I have medical cover. Talk about all these issues.
I remember laughing, you know, going with Kevin, you know Kevin, to Baltimore from DC, just
From
around
Silver
Beltsville.
Spring.
And I was I was really shocked. It's good that we're very proud of Thika Highway, super highway, what do you call it? But sometimes in the US, that's a road leading to a mall, a mere mall.
That's true.
Although the US has, you know, huge advantages, but it's just what I get. What you're saying is that we should not get conceited. We should not think we're doing too well. We need to compare with others and just see how much work we really have to do. And we need to bring people like you on board to ensure that we're able to bring best practices. Is that what you're saying?
Actually, what I can also add, that's what I'm talking about, but we just need to follow the law. Very simple things. If we capture that, if we follow that, I believe that we shall progress and move forward. For instance, let me just pick traffic rules. In the United States, whether the light turns red, whether there's no vehicle coming from the other side crossing, you just need to stop. That's the law. You don't need to hurry. When it's green, you proceed. But I want to assure you that I can't drive in Nairobi right now. Why? Because the light is red, whether there's a cop, there's no cop, people just drive. It's all about, I want to reach where I'm heading to. And this is something else that I can say needs to be fixed. If we Kenyans can understand where we're heading to, if we can follow simple instructions, trust me, I think even the issue of corruption, impunity, everything might just, you know, slowly by slowly end. I'm not saying that we need to compare ourselves with America. These guys have been there for more than 200 years, you know. We're just almost clicking 50. So we still have to follow simple things, start from somewhere. At the end of the day, we're going to achieve.
I like that. You know, simple rules, not complicated, because Kenyans are very smart. But sometimes we forget the small details. You know, like you've said, traffic lights. Ensure you follow the laws. Don't steal. Very small things which simply need to be followed.
And shortcuts. You know, like in the US, maybe you're applying for, let's say, like a license. You take your license you're applying, actually, you're living in DC. You send your application in DC, but your documents might be processed in California. And you might be called to New York for an interview, or maybe the nearest state or nearest city. So this actually does away with the issue of corruption, because you don't know whom are you going to bribe.
Exactly.
You see, these are some of the things we really need to try and maybe capture. Not just you go to KRA, you know, you're getting everything done. You know, we need to try, take an interview to Embakasi, call this guy for vetting in another place. You don't know. Let these documents be handled by many people, and I think we shall be dealing with corruption.
Fantastic. I want to go back. I'm being reminded. I want to go back that. You know, I remember there's a time, and it changed my mind. It made me, when I came back home, it made me appreciate a lot more what we do here. Because even the Standard newspaper, when you told me, when you first, I'm not sure if it's you, if it's somebody else told me that, you know, we read, the way I've just said, we read the newspaper like how, and you gave me the whole time calculations.
Correct.
By the time it's coming online at about 10 p.m., 11 p.m. our time, you guys are still during the daytime. So
it's daytime on our side.
And the grasp of issues is still very good. Most of you even know Kenyan politics and leadership issues more than I do, which is really impressive. Talking about leadership, you are back home and you're saying you want to vie for a parliamentary seat in Teso South.
Correct.
Why would people elect this guy who's, you know, been enjoying the U.S. for the last few years? Why would they consider you?
I can say, Mr. James, my coming to these elections is not based on money. I'm not coming back to run for this seat because I want to make money the way some politicians think. You know, everybody's thinking about that million. I want to be there because I want to earn money. But I've been a servant. I've done a lot of community work, starting from where I worked in the media, that's a local media back home, worked with World Vision, trying to eradicate poverty, HIV matters, abstinence and risk avoidance. These are some of the things. Supporting, I've been in the diaspora, but I don't need to brag and tell people this is what I've done. But education is key. I've been supporting kids, sending kids to school. And I want to try and bring what I've learned from these foreign countries and see if I can transform, make a change. I know I can make money that is enough in the diaspora than coming to run for that seat. But I don't care about money. I care about changing somebody's life. And that's why in Teso South, and I really invite you guys for even a live debate, because I want to try and let people understand their leaders. I want to sit there with all my opponents. It's not about party. It's not about supporting a certain presidential candidate. It's about the community. It's about the region. It's about the country. Where do we want to go? At the end of the day, 10, 20, 30 years to come, what will Kenya have achieved? And that's why I'm coming on board to try and bring some sanity, try and fix small problems, small loopholes that I've seen. And if the people say I'm not the best candidate, I respect their decision and we move forward. Leadership is not about that you must be in the National Assembly, you must be the president, you must be in the Senate. It's not all about that. You're a leader by even educating people right here on KTN.
We're talking about Teso South.
Yes.
What key issues have you identified that made you say, hey, we've been in this particular situation for too long. Here is what I can do. Teso South, of course, a unique set of circumstances. What makes you believe that you can make it?
First, Karada, I'm sure maybe you don't know where Teso is. Actually, when you're in the diaspora, you tell people, okay, I'm Teso. Some people are like, oh, are you near Mombasa? Which region? We're actually in Western Kenya. It's currently Amagoro constituency. We are at the border, Malaba, Busia, that's our region, bordering Mount Elgon, Nambale, Bungoma. There are so many issues. Talk about employment. There are thousands of youth who have actually completed, even they are graduates, but there are no jobs. Guys are just selling their small shambas and now buying motorbikes. You know, instead of saying, I'm going to invest, instead of selling this piece of land, why can't I set up a greenhouse? You know, you still own the piece of land, you're doing some agricultural farming. These are some of employment. That's a big, big disaster, not only for Teso, but the entire country. That's why Kenyans are suffering in the diaspora, because there are no jobs. I came to Nairobi for when I just landed, and there was too much human traffic all over. It's because maybe others are trying to look for jobs.
Coming from other parts of the country to Nairobi.
People are looking for jobs. So talk about employment. That's one issue that I want to ensure that I fix. And that's why I'm planning to set up like a radio station to bring my radio in Busia County so that we can empower the community and serve people and create employment. We need some of these colleges to go back to the county level so that not everybody wants to come to college, has to come to Nairobi, has to go to Mombasa, Kisumu. These are things we need to fix. Talk about infrastructure. The only tarmac road that I saw since I was born up to date is the main road that's, let's say, Nairobi, Malaba, and the other one coming from Kisumu to Busia.
But when you go there on Friday, you'll be shocked. Have you been there since you came?
I'm going there on Friday, but I've been in touch. I talk to more than 50 people every day when I used to be in the U.S. So I know exactly what's going on back home and what even other leaders are doing. But these campaigns should be based on issues, you know. Talk
Very
about
true.
agriculture. We had a ginnery in Namukura, but it's no more. It's no more. So when we talk about farming, guys are actually planting or maybe growing sugarcane, and you know the problem with sugarcane. It takes so much time. At the end of the day, you find yourself maybe you have been paying a lot of expenses. You know, there are so many expenses, transportation, fertilizer, you know, weeding. And there's so many issues. There's also an issue of education. Actually, that's key. And that's why the world of today, I'm one guy who is much versed with technology. I always take advantage. Anything I see that is good and of benefit to the common mwananchi, it can be of great importance.
Very true. Denzel, I'll want to invite the viewers, probably have viewers in Teso South who are watching us, and but not just Teso South, from across the country. If you have a particular question about Kenyans living in the U.S., experiences of somebody who's been there, as I've told you, doing a fantastic job there, setting up a radio station and doing well, but right now he's back home saying, I want to, share best land practices with fellow Kenyans. 8040 is the SMS line, as always. We'll be reading them as we go on. 8040-8040. SMS your comments and your questions. If you didn't catch the number again, it's just beneath me here. Make sure you read that and take a look at it. So you're saying, here's the thing, you understand the issues.
Yes.
You've seen better, which you can share in some perspectives. If I'm getting you right, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm talking about. The issue of, for instance, education. We have technology. I don't see a reason as to why we are crying or maybe having one teacher with 200 students in a classroom. We have technology. We need to move forward. We have the fiber optic cable. Why can't we even have a teleconference whereby Karani is here teaching from Nairobi, and there are like maybe 10 schools watching and benefiting from your lessons? These are some of the things I want to introduce. Talk about ICT. Even right now, the IEBC job, if you're not computer literate, getting it, it's going to be a big issue. So
because you have to first of all apply online.
So you go to test how many people are computer literate. We want to try and bring all these things to the people. And I think even Kenya, the Kenyan government has a role to play. How many public libraries do we have in the country? But you go to the United States, whether you don't have a computer, you can still go to a public library, read books, browse, do anything, and you leave. These are some of the things that we need to set up in our centers, in our small towns, so that they can keep these young men and women busy, rather than just loitering, drinking too much. You see? So these are some. I've already actually acquired like 200 computers, which I'm supposed to ship to the country to install to Teso South. So for the benefit of the people, they can go there, read the standard newspaper online instead of waiting till tomorrow morning. So I want to ensure that Teso South becomes an ICT hub.
Let me ask you one thing. There's a big divide, and I'm sorry to seem pessimistic. We've had, even now, some members of parliament who came back from the UK, the US, they came back with a big vision, were elected in some places in the country. You know, you have those members of parliament. But the reality and the perception, they're worlds away. You come up with good ideas, you want to implement, but the frustration of the system. You know very well about, presidential aspirant Raphael Tuju leaving the States for long, coming back, and then the whole setup of politics coming and what happened. How will you deal with that? You are talking about issues. Since I've started talking to you this morning, you've stuck to computers, you've stuck to, roads, polytechnics should go down there. But how do you deal with people who are good with dirty politics? Will mudsling you, will do all these things? Will you be able to handle that?
First of all, I'm very sure and positive that I'll be able to handle that. And I think IBC coming up with a law that will deal with the finance issue, how much somebody is supposed to spend, monitoring the accounts. That's one thing that will help to, maybe get rid of some of these corrupt leaders or those ones who bribe in order just to get elected. And something else I can add on that. On my side, I'm coming with a view. I'm coming with a solution on what to do to the problem that we have. When we talk about being a leader, as I said earlier, it's not all about you being out there just being called Mheshimiwa, but it's about what kind of change are you bringing? Are you going to touch somebody's life? And I'll be so happy if I can help 1,000 people from Teso to prosper, move forward, and become successful, rather than lying to the 240,000, I think I'll be so happy. You see, if somebody else wants to lie to the entire Kenyans just because he wants to be up there, well and good. But I'll focus on helping the people. At the end of the day, it's like a transition. You can't just wake up today and say, we're going to be like America. No. It's going to take us some time. It will take us some years, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Maybe I can start this journey today, and my son, my nephew, my neighbor might carry on and say, this is just like the U.S., Martin Luther King, what he did, what he started.
Dream, yeah.
So what we are fighting for today, we are not going to end it. We are not going to solve the problem today. We might start the journey today, but tomorrow or the next year or even 10, 20 years to come, the solution will have been received.
Age, another issue. Young politicians normally get, huge problem. How old are you now?
I'm now 30, and when you talk about age, I don't want to advise Kenyans to vote just because somebody is a youth. I want to be on a race whereby I know there are women, there are young girls out there, there's a youth, there are old men, so that let Kenyans elect. We don't just need to sing, oh, it's time for the youth, but You can see even right now as we're talking in our parliament, we have the youth, but what are they doing?
What's their contribution?
Yeah, what's their contribution? So I don't want to be voted in just because I'm a youth. Okay, judge me, see what I've done in the past and what I'm bringing on the table today, and make that decision.
I mean, very impressive. Not
Yeah,
very many people.
It should not just be, oh, this is our time, we are the youth. Yes, we are the majority, we need jobs. We are the people who are going to take the country to the next level. But we also have old men who are very sharp than even the young men we have today. We still need their ideas. We need their input. Okay? So on my side, I think let people just vote wisely. Analyze your leaders. Know exactly who is who. What has he done? Background check. And make that decision. So don't just support me or vote for me just because, you know, I'm a youth. I don't advocate for that.
Very true. That's for Tessa South. But generally, and we'll understand, I mean, we don't take it that you'll be speaking down to people, but we want to know, for most Kenyans who have gone out there, there's one thing everybody is telling, because people, you know, they watch KTN a lot there. They read this, they know what's happening and so on and so forth. They know KTN presenters and so on and so forth.
Correct.
They're telling me, you know, tell people back home to focus. The world is moving on. The world is moving on, and yet in Kenya we're still caught up in this cheap politics. We're still caught up in this, you know, tribalism and so on and so forth. Looking from an insider, from outside, an insider looking at us from outside, what did you say about unity as Kenyans? Unity of purpose, avoiding things like tribalism and so on and so forth. What do you have to say about that?
That's a good question, Mr. James. And I can say tribalism is not, by the way, only in our country here, even in the diaspora. People are so tribal. Even you read some of the social media sites and blogs, and even you find it's like people are fighting. In fact, the Kenyans in the diaspora are passionate of some of their candidates here. They have never met them. You see, others have never voted for 20 years, but they can die because of that person. Okay? So it again goes back to the law. If the law can be followed, if we can live in harmony, you know, as Kenyans, then I think the solution can be reached. Tribalism, corruption, two key issues that most Kenyans in the diaspora see on a daily basis. We